Hi, my name is Kari and I'm the product architect here at FieldSync. What I'd like to show you today is how you can use FieldSync for the specific purpose of tracking time for your staff members. Now, whether they're working out in the field or within the office, they can utilize either the mobile application or the web application and track the time that they work throughout the day so that you can easily export that information and complete payroll. First, let's go into tasks. So I can select my customer or my employee, Haley Hodge, and you can see here that I have a time card task listed here. So I'll go in and edit just so you can see how I have it set up. So you can see here for the customer, I've selected Haley. The service falls under HR. Category of time tracking. The task name is time card, and I can leave it as a general. And then I can just have some basic instructions. And over here, this is what's going to drive whether or not it shows up on a daily basis. So if I select the task to be completed daily at 8 a.m., so let's say, for example, that every shift starts at 8 a.m., then I can indicate that there, and it will show up on the mobile application that way. And then I can enter the start date and the end date. Now I want you to think about the time card that your employees currently use and what are the fields that you see on that time card. In this example that I've put together, I've just got a few basic fields, but let me kind of just go through those and tell you what some of the different options are. Now, as you know, we have several different configurable field types that are available. If I select add a configurable field and come to this list, you'll see what all of those different types are. And a few of these types work really well when trying to collect time and date information. So what I've done is I've set a field for time in and I've set it as a date timestamp control. What this means is that it will capture the exact date and time that they select the button that is on the screen, which I will show you in a minute. Now, if you choose a date timestamp type, it's not a field that can be edited by your staff. If you want them to be able to change the value, then you would want to select a combination of a date and also of a time field. And those allow your users to go in and select a date and select a time, but make those modifications, whereas the date timestamp will capture the data and it's not editable. So I have a time in, out for lunch, in from lunch, and a timeout. I've also provided a text entry field that will allow them to indicate the description of the work that they performed. You could also do a drop-down list if you want. Let's say you only have 5 different things that are done within your organization, so you can just have them choose one. And then I also can add a display text. So this is just stating that by my signature below, I certify I've worked the time entered. I can capture the signature. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel so I don't add this additional checkbox. And let me show you what that would look like in the data entry. So on the web, I'll come in here and select Haley as my customer. And here you can see that I have a time card task. So when I expand this and select Add Data, you can see that I have the date and the time fields that are collected for every task. I can put in a title. So let's say I want to put in graveyard shift. Say completed. Let's say this is the time that I'm coming in. So you can see it adds in a specific date and a specific time, and I can't edit that. So now I can save the record. Now I'm going to come over to my mobile application and synchronize so that I can pull that information down that I just entered on the web. And when I go into data entry, since I just created an entry on the web, you can see here that the time card for Haley has been completed. But if I go into that task now, I can select it. And now I have the option to come down here. I can see the value that's been selected for time in, and you notice that there's no button there for me to select. And now I can say that I'm going out for lunch and capture the out. Then let's say after an hour, I come back in, I go back into the record, I choose in from lunch, and then I can choose my timeout at the end of the day. So I can go back into the same record over and over throughout the day and enter in my time just as I would with a time card. So here I can do a description of work performed. Let's say I'm doing inspections. I can sign my time card, and then I can hit save. So now when I synchronize and come back over to web, I can go into my reports as the manager and look at my task detail report. Here I can see a time card was completed. And if I view that information, you can see all the times that were collected and my signature are showing up on this report. Now, if I want to be able to export this information, then I simply come here and select Haley and select the task name. And now I'll be able to see all that information in the grid, which means that I can also export the data. So let me export to Excel. I can bring that information up. And now what I can do is can create a calculation field that allows me to determine what the amount of time was that this individual worked. So you can see at the end of a pay period, I can easily go into FieldSync, export the data for each of my employees, come in here, enter the calculation, and quickly be able to determine what the number of hours were that they entered. Now you may have several different fields that you need to collect. Maybe you wanted to add some fields for holiday pay or overtime. Whatever those fields are, you can capture that information and then be able to export it to Excel and then complete the calculations. So as you can see, in addition to all the other data collection that we have included in FieldSync, you can also use it to track the hours that are worked by your staff. If you have any questions about this specific functionality or any other questions about FieldSync, please don't hesitate to give us a call. Thank you.